Hello and welcome to the second part of this series in which I'm going to show you can edit the lectures you just recorded. So what we're going to see in this video is how you can piece together or cut the raw recording you generated. That probably is not perfect. That's okay. That's one of the advantage of recording is you can maybe do it over and over until it's perfect. In order to do that, we will have to cut and piece together pieces of recording in order to generate the finished product. We may also want to add a nice introductory picture at the beginning, at the end, containing information about the lecture eventually. So we're going to use one software which is free, also called OpenShot, and available for Mac, Windows, and Linux. I will only present a very basic features of OpenShot, which is quite powerful, can do a lot of video editing steps, operations, and there are tons of very good tutorials out there that you will be able to find yourself if you want to deepen your knowledge on specific topics. Okay, so let's download and install OpenShot. So we just need a web browser. Here it is, and we go for openshot.org. Here it is. Just clicking on the download button here. It's available for Linux, Mac OS, and Windows. You can download it here. OpenShot has now downloaded. We can start it. Here it is. So it should fire up. Where it is. So what you see is the main window of OpenShot. It has three main areas. This part here where you will store your footage, the different clips that make up your final movie. Could be a single file you want to edit or different component. The part here is called the timeline. This is where you will arrange the different clips and work on them to splice, cut, glue them back together, add transition and images before and after. And that third part here is a preview window in which you can preview the result of your editing. So what we need to do is get some files into OpenShot, and the easiest way to do that is to drag the files you need from here to desktop directly into the project file tab. So they add it to the project. So what I've added here are two little footage, so recording of my screen and of my slides, and image, a static image, a PNG here that I will use as a video, as a banner at the beginning and at the end of my lecture. So what I'm going to do is show you the bare basics of OpenShot, just covering exactly what we need to remove element of a video clip, trim it from at the beginning or the end, add basic transitions, and be able to export. OpenShot can do way more than this, and there are very good tutorials online that I invite you to refer to if you would like to know more. Okay, so let's start. We'll take a first clip. So for some reason, it always asks me to open this and close on the Mac. To work on a clip, we can drag it and to the timeline here in one of these tracks that you see here. There are up to 5 tracks, even more. We'll just use one at a moment. So an important thing is this marker here, that is the play point. So you can scroll through your clip and see what's happening. So obviously this is a raw footage. You can press play here or press on the space bar to play or stop the viewing. So here there were several attempts before I got my shot correct, and we would like to trim all the failed attempts before the good one. So a trick I like to use here, especially in OpenShot, is to visualize the sound track. So there is the sound, you do not hear it because it goes to my muted speakers right now, but the sound is being played. but it's good to show the waveform of the sound on top of the video. That helps you to identify when there are pauses into the narrative, usually point at which you can cut or realize that something has happened. So to do that, it's simple. You make a right click onto the clip. So first the clip, as you select it, it should be highlighted in red. Make a right click, go to display and click on show waveform. It will take a few seconds, and here you have as blue the waveform for the sound. And what you see is, as you progress, there is sound here, and here there is a big pause, and I'll play from here, hop, hop, you see me waving, so it was a cut, and now it's starting. So that seems to be the right point of my clip. So what I would like to do is position my cursor precisely here to where I want it, something like that. Good. So what I would like to do is actually split this clip in two parts, only keeping the right part and discarding what's on the left. So to do that, there are several ways to do it. First off, you can make a right click here and you have a contextual menu that says slice all, and you could slice everything, keeping both sides, or only keeping the left side from the cut, or keeping the right side. So here I'm going to keep both sides, and I could select this one and remove it, or press backspace to remove it. So now my clip is going to start here. Good, so we got rid of everything at the beginning. So this is one way to trim a clip, is to go to a specific point and slice cut at that point. You can also do it differently. You can select the clip and you can grab the ends of it and trim it this way. So you can move and decide when to stop. So you do that to navigate toward the end, and you see here there is no sound, so probably that's the end. I'm going to move it this way to trim it in that direction. Okay, you could do that here as well. So something else I want to show you right away. You can zoom in to increase the resolution by pressing here. So you zoom in onto your timeline, and you get a much better, a more precise view of the sound and your clip editing. So we could clip again from here. I could clip and keep only the right side, get rid, and that's it. Good. So what we would like to do now is add as an intro to this opening sequence a static image here, image with the logo, and transition from that image onto the clip with a nice fade. Okay, so to do that, there are several ways. I'm showing you, I will show you along 3 ways. We start with one. First off, you can, to make the two clips touch each other, you can simply grab it and drag it along on the timeline till it hits the next clip. As long as you have this little magnet icon enabled, the clip will be like magnetized and onto each other and glue onto each other. So now if I go toward position my play cursor here and hit space, I see that I have my image and directly the next part of the clip. So we like to make a nice transition between the two segments. So how can I do this? First way, you can click on this transition tab here, and you have a whole bunch of transitions that you can apply to clips. So let's say we would like to have a wipe left to right. We could grab it and drop it onto the two clips we would like to edit. So this transition is, you can adjust its duration here by showing the properties. So if it were not shown, you just click properties and this panel will show up. You can define the duration here. Let's say it will be 2 seconds long, so I put 2. Now it's positioned. I can move it and I can, whoops. So I need to zoom in because I want it to span the two clips. So here I'm zooming in, moving, and yeah, I position it halfway through my clips, and now I can put my cursor, play, and I should have, yes, a transition, a wipe transition from left to right. That's one way to do it. To illustrate a second way or to do that, I will take these clips and copy the clip, make a copy here. No, I'm going to stop that. All right. Okay, so one way to do a transition. That's not what I wanted to do. I'm going to demo a second way to do a transition immediately when I want to add the second part of the second clip to this first one. Okay, so I go back to my project file and I want to add the second clip, which is called part 3 main here. I position it on the second track for the time being, but I could have put it directly here. So what I'm going to do is display the waveform. Here it is. So now I have the waveform. I can trim the beginning of the clip. So I can put my play marker here and play, and that seemed to be the beginning. Yes. So it seems to start around here. Good. Okay, so I position my play marker here, and I'm going to trim that clip all the way to that position here. So now it should start exactly like that. Perfect. So let that one play. For the sake of it, I'm going to split the clip again here. You can split here by clicking slice all. I'm going to keep both sides. Here it is. And for some reason, let's say I would like to get rid of that segment in between here because it was not what I wanted, or I stuttered on my words. I can click on K here, so this is a shortcut for it, and I can get rid, I have another cut point, and I can get rid of what's in between, so either right click, remove clip, or here backspace on my keyboard. So now I can slide this one back, it will snap to the previous one, and I should have a smooth transition between the two. Good. So for the sake of the demo, I'm going to cut the clip from here on and remove the right part here, so I don't have a long total video. So now I would like to make a nice transition between the end of that part here and the beginning of that part there. So what I can do is I select them and I put them on the same track. I could also put them on a separate track, but I find it more logical for them to be on one track. And I'm going to impose, I could impose a transition as we saw before by going to transition, drop and dragging a transition on top of the two clips to apply it. So what I will do to make a transition between the two is I will grab that clip and push it over the other one past this point where they are magnetized to each other so that they actually overlap. Then when I release, you see that there is a new area, a blue area that has been formed onto the overlay region, and that's a transition that has been automatically created. So now if I play, I should have a transition from one to the other, okay, and that was created automatically. So by default, this is a fade transition. You can just highlight it, and that's a fade value. 1 second. So that's good enough. We're going to stick that one to the other one, so abut it. And we want to add again at the end of our recording that image, video banner, static image to close our clip. I will show you a third way to do a basic transition between two parts. So if I were to play this right now, it would go directly and harshly from one clip to the other. I would like to have a nice fade in, fade out between the two. So what I can do is I can select one click, make a right click, and go to fade. And what I want is to add at the end of the clip a fade out, fast. And here, same thing, right click, fade. At the beginning of the clip, I want to make a fade in. Okay. So it will add a fade in, fade out transition to this. So I play, fades out to black, fades in to the image. I will trim that clip so it's not too long. It's a few seconds as a closing sequence here. Here it is. You make it even shorter. Here it is. Good. So I can zoom out. So that would be my finished product or finished movie. I have the intro image that I'm going to trim to be just a few seconds long. Play. Transition to the lecture. What I'm going to do is adjust this transition a little here. I'm going to zoom in. It's not very happy with it. It's a bit too long. And it's, yeah, so this should look better. Yes. Okay. I'm zooming back out. I'm selecting everything. Could do L by A and then select and push them to the origin of the timeline on the left here. Okay, so it's, whoops. Oh yeah, so you can Control Z everything, select, and I push it back here. Yes. Now it's at the start of the timeline, and the recording would start immediately. Okay, so we saw how to combine different clips, splice them together, adding very basic transitions. Use the waveform as cue to know where to cut and focusing on the sound, and add some static image at the beginning and at the end. So the last step we need to do before being able to share that with the students is to export this recording out of OpenShot as a video file. So to do that, it's very easy. You click here on this red button called Export Video. A window opens, and that's a good moment to name the project we just created. So this would be part 2, editing test. You decide where you want to save it. So I'm going to save it onto my desktop. That's good. OpenShot come pre-equipped with many presets in terms of how to save and export your movies for different. They're all organized by profile: Blu-ray, DVD, device, web. So we keep it on all profile. The important one you need to check is the one under video profile. So if you click here, you see that it can save as many different formats: 4K, 1080p, so high definition, 720p, and a few others. If you remember, we did a recording in OBS at 1280 by 720 and at 30 frames per second. And I would recommend, because our raw material or raw footage is at this resolution, that we save it at the same resolution. So settings would be high definition, 720, 30 frames per second, and the quality here you have a choice between low, medium, and high, and I would crank it up to high. As I say, we can deal with the size of the file later on. The last step you need to do is click here on Export Video, and it will start to export. You see the progress bar. It is almost finished. Yes, it finished. We can click on Done. We are actually finished with OpenShot now, so we can save the project. We'll call it part 2 editing test. Save it on my desktop here. That's done, and we can quit OpenShot. So now on our desktop, there is a file called part 2 editing test, the one that has been exported from OBS. Double click on it and hit play. Oh, I see I should have a transition. Yes, and the video starts.